Hello friends. Welcome to the monthly series lectures organized by the Kizuna India Japan Study Forum. The Kizuna India Japan Study Forum was launched in September 2022 by the MOSI, an association formed by scholars who studied in Japan. The objectives are to explore and document the lesser known or under-researched aspects of India-Japan historical and cultural interactions and disseminate the findings through lectures, seminars, conferences, and publications. The forum has held one international conference in February 2023, and the papers presented in the conference are now published under the title Geographies of Exchange between India and Japan. The next conference is scheduled for early March, and the title is India and Japan, Lived Seasons and Intercultural Human Encounters. It will be held in Delhi in hybrid mode. All are welcome to attend it via Zoom or those who can afford to come in person. Today we have Dr. Tiyasha Chakma, who will be delivering the 24th Kizuna lecture under monthly lecture series. She will be speaking on the early phase of Japanese literature in Bangla in Bangla periodicals. Let me welcome her and introduce her to the audience. Dr. Tiyasha Chakma joined the Department of Bangla at Islamic University, Kushtia, Bangladesh in 2013. She completed her bachelor's and master's degree at Jahangirnagar University. Her master's thesis was on the developments of Chakma language studies. She completed her PhD at Nagasaki University, Japan, focusing on the history and trends of Japanese literature translated into Bangla. Welcome, Tiyasha. And now let me welcome and introduce the chair, Dr. Muhammad Mamunur Rashid. He is a Bangladeshi academic, AI researcher, and author, blending Bangla heritage with digital innovation. An associate professor at Jahangirnagar University, he teaches Bangla language and pioneers NLP tools and language preservation, championing inclusive technology for low-resource languages. Welcome, Dr. Mamunur Rashid. And now I request you to take over and conduct this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Coordinator. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So thank you again. Good afternoon, friends in India. Happy Diwali. Also, friends in Japan, Bangladesh, and every time zone has dragged in today. I promise to be a lightweight chair because the real star we are here to spotlight is our speaker, Dr. Tiyasha Chakma. Still, let me take 60 seconds to tell why today's topic is significant. We often assume that Bengali discovered Japan, the Bengali people discovered in terms of literary sense, Japan through Rabindranath Tagore's journey of the 1916. Even some people think the wartime exploits of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bosu. But Tiyasha explored very interesting journey, which is very rare. Her archival proves that the discovery began half-century earlier than the assumed time. She tried to explore the first Japanese love story ever whispered in Bangla, maybe it's pronounced Gompachi and Komurasaki, and the first Kyozen comedy. In doing so, she has written the timeline of literary cosmopolitanism, and we also uh, just hear her credential. I am going to repeat it shortly. Tiasha, also Bangladeshi academician. She obtained her degree from, even she is double alumnus of Jahangirnagar University, and then obtained her degree from Nagasaki University, focusing translated literary works on Bangla and Japanese works. So I'm going to declare the grounded rules for the next 30 or 35 or 40 minutes. I hope Tiasha will conclude and cover her presentation in 25 to 30 minutes and 10 to 15 minutes for open floor. And then I'm going to conclude the take away. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the scholar who is literally turning the first page of Japan in Bengal, Dr. Tiasha Chakma. Over to you, Tiasha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Dr. Mohammed Mamun Rashid, and thank you, Professor Shushila San, for giving me the floor or opportunity to present my paper here today. I welcome you all to my presentation today on the topic Japanese literature. It's titled The Early Phase of Japanese Literature in Bangla in Periodicals. Well, I titled it literature, though. It could be narratives. However, so I'm going to share my PPT here.
Sure, you can.
Okay. Am I getting access? Am I coming through? Is my PPT is being shared? Sheila-san.
No, we can't see.
Started, please.
The host isn't allowing sharing for this
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh,
So,
let me call the host.
okay. Oh, wait.
I'd like to request Tiasha to continue conversation in casual way. I think it would be
Okay,
rather comfortable for all.
everyone. I'm allowed to share
Yeah.
my.
Yes,
Okay.
now it's okay.
Am I coming through on
Yeah,
a screen? Okay.
Now it is visible. Go ahead.
yes.
So, the early phase of Japanese literature in Bangla in periodicals. Not specifically narratives. I'm talking about literature, though. It will cover both narratives and literature. So what did the previous scholar said about this early phase? Well, according to Kogendranath Mitra, Japanese Phanush and Jumjumi consisted of several Japanese tales. On the other hand, Gita-kin said that Japan Jatri could be the first one, which included a haiku. Later, Lopamuta Malik indicated that Rabindranath Tagore's Koriyo Komal includes a Japanese poem. So we can see that the gap is that none of the previous researchers talked about the early phase, which could be before 1900 in 19th century. So then I found another book by Subroto Kumar Das. He talked about periodicals. And specifically, he particularly paid attention to Japanese literary, not the Japanese literary content, but the information about Japan. However, he also included some findings that includes literature. Then I prepared some research questions, and these are: which period is the first phase of translating Japanese literature into Bangla? Is it before 1900? The next could be, which one is the first piece of Japanese literature translated into Bangla from Japanese culture in the 19th century? And if we can find those specimens, so which tendencies would be significant to discover? So my primary data was based on the contemporary periodicals. I surveyed about 29 periodicals, and these includes Bamabudhini, Bharati, Vividhartu Sangro, and several important others. So why didn't I choose to study or survey the periodicals before 1853? Well, because the tendency of the periodicals of the first half of the 19th century in Bengal was producing news. So there is a very little chance to find any literary translations on those periodicals. On the other hand, due to the sakoku system in Japan, it was very difficult, possibly, to transfer Japanese contents in the company-ruled India. However, then I found an article titled Japan o Japanio Diger Brittanto, published in Bibidarthu Sangraho in 1856. So was there any narratives? Previous scholars has discovered Japan, which is a translation of narrative of the expedition of an American squadron to the China Sea and Japan, performed in 1852, 1853, and 1854 by Perry. And this was published by Vernacular Society of Literature in 1863. So it's still, there is a space, there is an empty space that we can't find any literary specimens in book format. So I jumped into the periodicals. Well, about 29 pieces of work found in several periodicals from 1856 to 1939. Translations of Japanese narratives, such as a song, several poems, a few tales, a verse, prose, novel, and also a news article about poet Yone Noguchi. Interestingly, during the period 1852 to 1900, the number of the translations were higher based on the source language from Indian continental languages than European languages. So it is possible that Asian countries might have received attention from the scholars who were interested in expanding the Bangla literary domain through periodicals. Here we are. Before 1900, I found these specimens, except the last one in Mukul by Brahmada Devi, titled Urashima Taro, published in 1893. It wasn't discovered by me. The upper ones, for example, Japaner Bortoman Unnoti, জাপানি প্রহসন, জাপানি উপাখ্যান, একটি জাপানি গল্প, and জাপানের প্রথম উপন্যাস. These were discovered by me while I was surveying in India in old libraries. Interestingly, at this point, I didn't say this literature actually, because the first one included a song. So it couldn't be specifically the literature in a literary sense, which we understand in creative way. So I say narratives. Mr. Chair, sir, can I have a moment, please? Just 30 seconds.
Sure, it's okay. You can take time. Welcome back. Please continue.
Thank you. Well, so what did I understand based on that statistical data? The early Bangla literary domain was being encouraged by importing foreign literature because there were several translations from different source languages and source cultures, actually. The second one is perhaps an early globalization happened. Well, this isn't the term coined by me. It was coined by my my supervisor during my master's thesis. He coined this term that it could be, I'd coined as early globalization, Professor Dr. Muhammad Sajjadul Islam. So another point is that perhaps there might be colonial networks, and Bengal was accommodating not only Europeans, but also Asian countries like Japan, which brought Bengalis closer to them. And another finding is perhaps the gradual interest in an unfamiliar neighboring nation, in the then unfamiliar nation, Japan, continued to the next century through these literary translations. The first one, সম্পাদকের চিত্রচয়ন, Japani Upakhyan, which is Japanese tale, published in 1892 by Shwanakumari Devi, and her another translation was সম্পাদকের চিত্রচয়ন, Japani Prohoshon, editor's edition, Japanese first, also in 1982. So what could be the possible impression? Well, she might have produced these Japanese translations not as a picture of Japan, but to propound a diversified literary angle in Bangla language and literary domain. So why is that? Because the plot and the contents of those both translations are different from the then contemporary Bangla writings. The Tomb of the Shiok, also known as the Loves of Gompachi and Komurasaki. Studying several sources, I found a resemblance between Mitford's Tales of Japan and Shwanakumari Devi's translation. So it is possible that she might have used Mitford's Tales of Old Japan to translate the Loves of Gompachi and Komurasaki. The second one, Honekawa. It's the popular Kyogen. So I couldn't find any evidence that Shwanakumari Devi might have studied or learned Japanese language by then. So I focused on English sources. I found Chamberlain's On the Medieval Colloquial Dialect of the Comedies, which was presented before Asiatic Society of Japan in May 1878. So it it was consisted of Honekawa Reefs and Skin as bilingual work and published in part 3 of volume 6 of Transactions, the Asiatic Society of Japan. Well, after finding these source texts, I focused on comparing the translated narratives and the source narratives. I'll talk about them in the next slides. There are other evidences or specimens I would like to talk about, which is Ekti Japani Golpo, published in Dashi in 1897, titled Inari in Japan. Well, it was very difficult because I couldn't find any, perhaps it's my limitation, that any closely similar to the translated text and the source text. However, I found Lafcadio Harn's Kitsune that as a source, that it could be the source text, and perhaps the writer or the translator used Harn's Kitsune to summarize and translate into Bangla. On the other hand, in 1897, Sharat Chandra Das included Takedori Monogatari as the source of his translation, Japani Katuri. Well, this is one of the significant discovery that Sharat Chandra Das translated and included in an essay. So what is the possible reason that there is at least 18-year lapse during the early phase? Well, because it was a colonial India and the European languages were familiar, known. The sources in European languages were more available than any other source text. So it could be said that there might have been some colonial influence. And the text that appeared in British territory reached to the Bangla leaders as a colonial influence. There are other evidences like Japanese Sahitya Chorcha, published in 1913 by Jodunath Sarkar, or Pratibha, that published a translation of a novel, Namiko, or in 1953, Book of Tea, translated by Priyambada Devi. These are evidences that later also people were interested in Japanese literature. I'll talk about a little about this Gompachi tale. There is very little change in translation in Mitford's and in Bangla. From this comparison, I understood that perhaps Swarnakumari Devi didn't follow word-to-word translation during the process. What could be the other possible tendencies? Well, there are Buddhist elements, other literary elements directly transported from the source text. Here is a quick look on the data I prepared. Interestingly, Honekawa is almost word-to-word translation. Every minor detail is masterfully presented. It also represent actually the message that these elements, those are unrefined for modern Japanese society, but relevant to the contemporary Bengal society. Perhaps this was the reason she chose Honekawa, the Kyogen, because the form of the literature was very common during that period. The trends? Well, as I said, colonial influence at first. It is assumed by me that because of the source languages, the colonial influence was very strong. The colonial language was English, and other translations from other European sources like French literature or German literature, those texts were available by then. Also, religious relevance. So during the second half of the 19th century Bengal, we saw that religion was a very commonly discussed topic in the mass. So Hinduism was, we know that Hinduism was very strong then, and later the Christianity came. However, Buddhism, that is closely related to Hinduism. Perhaps Swarnakumari Devi thought that this kind of religious content might attract the audience or the readers or the audience of the then Bengal province. Also, another trend is that translating something that is very relevant to the then society, which is the literary form, Kyogen. First, Kyogen is very closely related to the Bengali form Prohoshon. So it was very popular by then. Perhaps she thought that translating socially opposite literary forms would help people to understand the literature. So these three are my commonly identified trends on the early phase. At a glance, the narratives are The Gompachi Tale in Bharati, 1881, Skin and Bone in Bharati in 1892, The Tale of Bamboo Cutter in Shahitya in 1897, Inari's Tale in Dashi in 1897. The coined trends are colonial, which is British influence. I focused on the linguistic aspect. And the second one is religious relevance and social relevance. I'd like to point out that the previous researcher Lopamudra Malik stated in her essay that Rabindranath Tagore included a Japanese poem in his Koryo Komal. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the source of the poem. Rabindranath titled this poem Bideshi Phuler Guchcho. So it's yet to discover. I'd like to close my discussion today. So these are the references I used for this presentation today. Thank you all for listening. Over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Yasha, for your nice presentation. So I can share some comments then. Oh, no, I can open the floor for any question. Feel free to ask your question to our presenter, Dr. Tiesha Chakma. Could you please raise your hand or ask freely? Tiasha, could you please stop your presentation and open?
Yes.
Yeah.
Should I stop sharing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, so I'd like to request Professor Sushila Nasrim.
Uh, Thank you for a wonderful presentation, Tiyasha. I just want to know, you mentioned Asiatic Society of Bengal. Is it the same as Royal Asiatic Society of Bengal, or was it the one formed by William Jones uh, in, I think, 1780s or something? You mentioned Asiatic Society of Bengal.
Well, yes, I mentioned actually, well, I'd like to say again, it's the Asiatic Society of Japan, actually. It's titled, the volume they published is titled Transactions. It's not from actually Bengal, so it was very difficult to find this source. When I
Mhm.
was in Japan, so I had to survey a lot of books to find the source.
And within 4 years, I mean, I think it was formed in 1784, and you said by 1788 that.
1878, yes. It's
Okay, within that
chair,
means 3 years, they had done so
chairperson,
much work.
yes.
And within 3 years, they had discovered so many.
Yes, from Japan, yes. And it was surprisingly, it was a bilingual work actually when he was presenting, and it was published as bilingual, Japanese and English together.
Oh,
He presented, Chamberlain presented in May 1878.
so who was translating at that time? The British?
Chamberlain, B.H. Chamberlain.
Okay.
He was surveying sources or Japanese texts in Japan by then. So he presented the paper in front of the society.
And you mentioned old library. You found them in old library. Are you referring this old library in Kolkata?
Yes, for
The
example,
National Library?
yes.
Okay, okay.
And Bongyo Sahitya Parishad Library was the most significant. I also found my another piece, which is which is in book format from that old library. It's very helpful.
So you came all the way from Bangladesh to dig out these, and we in Kolkata couldn't do anything.
Well, not really from Bangladesh. I came from Japan. I came from Japan to Bangladesh, and then I went to Kolkata because directly coming to Kolkata was difficult for me by then. So this was my journey. And it was difficult during my first year of my PhD because there was some restrictions in traveling. So I waited 1.5 years then. Then I couldn't wait more. So I traveled. That's it.
Fascinating work, fascinating research work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you again, Tiasha and Dr. Sushila. Anybody else, could you please share with us any question to the speaker? Mr. Ashok Jain, please. So Ashok Jain sir, please go ahead. Kindly go ahead. And then Mitsuki Takahashi. It takes time, so we can go to Professor Mitsuko.
Okay, thank you. I learned a lot of things because there are so many things I didn't know. So this is a really inspiring. I just checked the who the B.H. Chamberlain. He is one of the invited foreign professors who contributed to make Japan's modernization. I think the Japanese government paid those foreigners a big amount of money and then asked them to teach, Western advanced, philosophy, technology, etc., to Japan and etc. And then he is one of those such people. And then he studied a lot about the Japanese literature. And then particularly he was fond of haiku and then things Japanese and then so I think he picked up the Japanese literature by his own interest, and that was in English, and then probably it is easier to translate into any other language, including Bangla and all. So my question is how those selection of translated literature is a influence of a colonial, because B.H. Chamberlain himself is from America. No, he is from England, very much colonial. So you say like the colonial influence is because of him.
Well, may I?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd like to say it again. I emphasized on the linguistic aspect, actually. So what was the colonial influence? So due to the short duration, I couldn't say more than during my presentation. So I'd like to add a few words to that. That linguistic domain, the colonial India or Bengal, it came through English language. So anything that is present in English language was very much available during the period in Bengal. So why I'm saying that Chamberlain's translated text is being translated into Bangla. Why is it colonial? Because of the language and the relation between the Asiatic societies around the world. Asiatic society in Japan and Asiatic society in Bengal. It is possible, it is my understanding that due to these networks, which my supervisors, my MA supervisor point, globalization, early globalization, that happened because of that linguistic aspect. So I actually focused on the linguistic aspect, which is English language. It is very difficult to understand if that Honekawa was not presented by or translated by Chamberlain, would have been available in Bangla by then. It's very difficult because the source language was possible. The closely resemble is with Chamberlain's translation. So it wasn't from Japanese language. It was translated from English language. So depending on English language is actually a colonial influence in my analysis. So I guess I came through.
Any other question from Professor Takahashi, or we can go ahead?
Thank you very much.
So
I understood.
I'm just adding as per the question of Takahashi. So what is your approach? Have you it is criticism of Japanese translated text like colonial criticism or writing history, descriptive history? What approach you have followed? Just for I want to know. Could you please share with us
Regarding
your PhD and today's presentation?
Today's presentation. Well, it's
Even
just
you can add your experience from your PhD thesis. So
that's okay. Well, it's based on two things. Source language. Which one is the source language? Is it English or is it Japanese? So in the early phase, it was based on English. So I used English sources. And then later in my PhD research, I found that there were several works translated from Japanese. So I had to study those Japanese texts. So in overall 150 years of history, I compiled in my PhD thesis, I had to use both the sociology of translation or the original translation method, actually, which is complete, qualitative method and comparative method, so quantitative also. But based on the methods available in translation studies.
Great work. So may I request you all to ask any queries to our presenter, Dr. T.S. Chakma.
Perhaps Ashok Jain sir wanted to
Yeah.
ask something.
Hello. My system was not working, so I'm using my wife Sushma's system.
Yes, sir.
You see, by that time, there were hardly any Japanese knowing people in India,
Yes.
and Bangla knowing people in Japan, right? And yet, so English sources were used, English translations were used for translating into Bengali, is it? In Bangla. So all the literature about Japan in Indian languages there's no data for that. It's only Japanese literature on Japan in Bangla is what you have studied, right?
Yes, focusing on the Bangla language, yes.
So just a curiosity, do you think the National Library in Calcutta would have a collection of Japanese narratives in other Indian languages also?
Well, I couldn't look for other sources, but I believe it is possible because I found these periodicals in Bongyo Sahitya Parishad Library, and I looked for other evidences or specimens in this central libraries also. That time I found interesting books like Japani Kachuria Hideyoshi. These kinds of books were written and published in Bangla language. So it is possible that both those libraries still contain some specimens or evidences on any other languages on Japan, in any other languages in Japan, on Japan.
Yeah, my query is very simple. In the National Library, the
Yes,
cataloging of the source that you found is
yes.
under Japan or under some other?
Oh, no, it's available online. So I searched the OPAC from Japan, and then I came to Kolkata, and then I surveyed. And I also took help from research assistants. So the catalog is open for all, but the older the specimens are, the books are, it's very difficult to make copies. So yes, it is possible. Due to the collections, it is possible. Yes.
I think I've not been. Okay, thanks. Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, Dr. Jain, the Commodore Perry's book, which was in English, I'm told that it was translated in Hindi also. And it's there in National Library.
That's what my question was. Yes.
Yes.
Mm. it's fascinating. I mean, this domain of research is fascinating. I mean,
Yeah,
I
really,
yeah,
really.
yes,
It's really a discovery and exploration, I think.
yes, and especially the motivation behind these translations, the popularity, and so on. So I think it's a very, because when you talk about Bangla, you are really talking of the colonial Indian subcontinent.
Yes.
So I think you are attending the March conference?
Well, yes, I'm interested.
Okay, okay, good. So I think we'll take it up there also, because there are some Marathi sources
Mhm.
which are being, isn't it, Sushila ji?
Nathan, he is talking about some Parsi and Marathi sources. And there is one Professor Animesh Mohapatra, he is talking about Odia sources.
No,
And
that's
then
good.
Arun Sham, he is talking about some Malayali sources.
And the period is about the same, is it?
Yes, it could be little late 19th century, early 20th century.
Good, good. So we are getting good collection then.
Yes, Tyashas is, I think, the earliest.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
oh,
yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
wow, that's
I think that's how you started, which was the earliest. So that
Yes.
was
which
the
was the
correct.
earliest, yes.
Yes.
But
Very interesting.
I emphasized on the Bangla language. So
Yeah.
I was thinking of discovering something within the Bangla language. I couldn't imagine that it could be closer to the other target languages, like other Indian languages. So yeah, that's very surprising fact. And I'm
Well,
glad I'm
Lovely.
presenting my
Maharaja Jagjit Singh, he wrote in Punjabi
oh,
and then he himself translated in English.
Oh, you see, but
Yes.
how did he knew Japanese?
No, he didn't. He wrote in Punjabi
But with how did he know the story?
because he visited Japan. He was in Japan.
I see. So orally he remembered the story, is it?
Yeah. Yes.
I
And he's
see.
talking about whatever he saw in Japan.
I see. Okay.
And
Okay.
then
The
he,
narrative. Okay.
but the publication is in English.
Yes, yes.
Japanese, the Punjabi version is not available.
Mm, 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 mm. In fact, in March conference, we'll learn about many more narratives. And yeah, that will be good. And
well,
these narratives are all by people who have physically met, the physically experienced Japan.
well, if I may add,
Yes.
I'm planning to present my paper on a newly discovered book, which I discovered in during my PhD, and it's one of the earliest in book format. Bosonto Prater Shokura Pushpo. It's identified as the earliest uh, in the 20th century in book format, 1904. So it was the translation of the Sakura Sogoro. It was completely narrative. So as I was talking about the early phase, so I didn't focus on that.
Yes. Good. Lovely. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to open the floor. Anybody else you can share with us? Any comments, remarks, or question?
Mr. Chairman, you work in artificial intelligence, is it?
Actually, my background is Bangla literature and language teaching.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
I switch myself in computational linguistics, then artificial intelligence and software development. So even in machine translation, currently I'm working on machine translation.
Wow. Terrific. You have some co-workers in India?
Yeah, in Indian Statistical Institute, Jadavpur University,
Jadavpur University.
SIDEC, Central Government Institute.
Jadavpur University has a very vibrant center for publishing Japanese books.
Mm.
Yeah, we had his lecture last time.
Yeah.
So I can see many connections coming up. Yes.
Actually, Dr. Muhammad Mamunur Rashid, I think I saw one book of yours on traditional painting.
Yeah, right.
So you
Yeah.
are also an artist?
I'm not artist, but I love to document art, and I love to visit museums and endangered documents, and what Tiasha Chakmas are saying, the discovering the rare manuscript from neglected archives. So even I visited all the archives of Kolkata and Nepal, even Delhi. So finding the periodicals of Bangla periodicals and manuscript mainly. My focus on manuscript and paleographical aspect, the paintings. So many things I love to do in art history and digitization.
Lovely.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So I wanted to request anyone that if anything that could, any suggestions or any advice that
Yes, we have got
Please
another
fine.
hand from Subrata Kumar Das. Mr. Subrata
Ready.
Kumar, please share.
Okay.
Calling from Toronto.
Hello.
And I'm really sorry that I am a bit late because it is only 6:26 now in the morning in Toronto. I missed Miss Tiasha's lecture, but I believe that I'll be listening to that later on YouTube.
Yes.
And I congratulate Miss Tiasha and Mr. Mamun Rashid on the lecture and getting involved in this session. So far, I know that Tiasha Chakma has been working on the issue for a long time, and it is nice for me to see her on the screen here.
Good.
I just want to congratulate
How
you,
long?
Tiasha, and the chairs. Thank you, Mr. Jaimal, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to a few words to Mr. Subrata Kumar Das's
Sure.
comment.
We're open floor.
Well, in my literature review and also in my data I presented today, I mentioned specifically which one is discovered by Mr. Subrata Kumar Das. He was the most earliest person in Bangladesh who studied on Japan in the Bangla periodicals. So it helped me a lot to understand the situation, that where should I begin. So it was very, very inspiring work. Shekaler Shamayik Potre, Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Das.
let me add, Dr. Das. Very nice of you
Yes.
to have woken up so early and joined us, Dr. Das.
Thank you.
And look forward to your interaction in March, right?
Yes,
Good.
I am waiting.
Yes, very nice. Very nice.
And it is really very interesting that you see, when I started in working on the Japan Bengal, I should say, or it is called Japan-India relations in the years 2007, 08, and from then onwards, during the last 17, 18 years, we see that we have learned so many things. We have discovered so many connections. which is really very unbelievable. And what should I say? We never thought of that these sort of interactions happened 1 century before. This was really very interesting and exciting. And my book, which Dr. Chakma mentioned, that has been published from Calcutta also this year, and it is going to be published in an English rendering very soon from Calcutta. And all these things will attract more readers, more scholars, and altogether, I believe that the earliest relations between Japan and India, Japan and Bengal, and the people of Japan and the people of the Indian zone was really very, very exciting, and it added much value. We believe that we are going to be adding, we all together, we some 20, 30 scholars will be contributing more and more, and it will help us in getting on the same floor in March 2026.
Thank you very much. We have seen another hands, but anonymous is titled iPhone. So could you please tell us your name, address yourself, and share your thoughts?
Greetings, everybody. Greetings, ma'am. Greetings, sir. Actually, I am a student of Delhi University right now. I'm in my 4th year of undergraduation. Hello. I'm doing a research since I am in 4th year. I'm doing a research on the strategic synergies in Indo-Pacific, a political economic relation between India and Japan. So I am also a Japanese student. Right now, I'm doing my N3 level. So I just went to the Instagram and I just saw that post of Musai that there is going to be a conference here. And since it was already 3:45, I did not know the time earlier. So I just took on the Zoom and just added myself into the meeting. So that was very honored for me to meet you guys, as you have done your PhDs, you're writing, different journals, different articles. So I just wanted to get some insight since I am very new in this. It's my 4th year. It's my first year where I am doing the research, and it's very new experience for me. So if you guys can help me out something.
May I request the young lady, I didn't get your name, to send us an email. We'll put you on our mailing list. And whatever we do, if it's relevant for you, and I'm sure you would love to be connected, just send an email to us. Go to the Google, do search for Mosai, you will get the connection, okay? And what is your name?
Thank you so much, sir. That would be a honored for me. My name is Khushi Gupta, and I am a student of 4th year, Political Science Honors, Delhi University.
Okay, great, great. N3, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, so did you project
Sushila?
those to me, that whether you wanted to listen to my experience to my PhD journey or something like that? I couldn't get actually.
I actually wanted to know about how can we do a good research and what all prospects we should keep in mind while doing, since it is very new for me and I wanted to be a scholar in my coming years, as I want to pursue my PhD and want to go in research, as this is something of my keen interest. So that is why right now I have done a lot of research. I have been you know I've been exclusively going through MOFA, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Japan, and I've been learning about the diplomatic books, what they have mentioned about the Indo-Japan relations. I have seen MEA, that is Ministry of External Affairs reports of India. There we have mentioned what are the significance connections the Indo-Japan has built. And recently, if you know that our Prime Minister has visited Japan, and we have did a lot of collaboration. So I was obviously studying about all of that, those prospects, so that I can add it to my review of literature. And also, these are some of my primary sources. I'm also thinking to have interview meetings, have questionnaires, survey reports, field work, so that I can make my research look even more good. So just wanted to get some insight from that.
From me or anyone?
Yes, ma'am, from you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I wasn't getting that whether you were projecting to me or anyone within this discussion or event today. Well, first of all, if the outline or the period is fixed, it's easy to start. First of all, identifying the period is very, very significant, that from which year I would cover in my study. Then you are planning very well. It's very good. I have also conducted interviews to get insights from intellectuals and translators and publishers. I included those interviews as transcription in my PhD dissertation. So it's very, very important to use those interviews, this data from those interviews. Also, which helped me actually very much, is starting the research in my earliest time. Like, my program was 3 years. I extended for another 6 months, but I began my journey 2 years before I went to Japan. I began collecting those data and studying whether there are any research gaps, so I can prepare research question. So those studying literature review is one of the most significant step to filling the gap. So I did that in my earliest phase of my study. So overall, it took 6.5 years, if I exactly mention it. But my program was 3 years, and I wrote my dissertation within 1 year or 1.5 year, and then I edited for another 1 year. So it's very, very very important to follow the timeline of this study. So you are doing very well, you're planning very well. So sticking to the plan is the key, and you will do great. I believe that. Yes, that's it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So we are on 4:36 at least. We are over 6 minutes plus. So anybody else? Then I'll go to final concluding remarks. I think everybody participated. So thank you, Tiyasha, for your wonderful presentation. I'd like to say today's presentation have many novelties, especially discovering two women translators, especially Swarna Kumari Devi and Priyambada Devi, is revealing the history and reminding us. It's really a good contribution. And another is a triangulation, as we discussed in Bangla, Japan, and English in colonial period history, rewriting the history and reviewing the history of colonial literary works, especially translated works. And also, the novelty of this research is bridging two continents, India and Japan, through text. So it's wonderful work, and I think the major contribution of your works is walking through the archives. It's my favorite, and it's a great contribution to all the researcher. PhD degrees and paper should be from started from scratch or from primary resource, not only secondary resource. So thank you very much for your endeavors. And also, I would like to thank all the organizers and having me there. I'm grateful to you. So that's from my end. So over, Ms. Sushila.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mamanu Rashid. It was really wonderful having Tiasha Sa tell us how she unearthed the earliest pieces of Bangla literature. Many Japanese literary texts have been translated both in English and Bengali, but very few attempted to undertake this historic journey to scoop out the earliest. As you mentioned, one has to have timeline, and you had that determination and the timeline. Thank you very much for digging the earliest Bangla treasures. It was also great having Dr. Mamanu Rashid as the chair. Well, in this age of artificial intelligence, you are moving with the changing times and technologies. By the way, let me also tell Dr. Mamuni is also the winner of GemCon Young Fiction Award for your story collection.
Yeah.
Is it Uno?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Okay,
is.
okay. Heartiest congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure meeting both of you. I would also like to thank all the other participants for their interest in Kizuna activities and joining us via Zoom. Hope to see you again. All the lectures are available on YouTube, Kizuna India Japan Forum, and the MOSAI website. And lastly, but not the least, I wish on behalf of the Kizuna India Japan Study Forum a very happy, prosperous, and hopefully a less smoky Deepavali. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Yes, see you soon. Thank you. Thank you.